I'm Michelle. I'm standing in my new Seattle apartment, surrounded by the boxes that mark the start of a new chapter in my life. It's a far cry from the home I left behind, and yet, I've never felt more at peace. The journey here wasn't easy, but it was necessary. My family was a complex web of relationships, each thread pulling me in different directions. My father, Robert, was a successful businessman with a sharp tongue and high expectations. He was the kind of man who believed in tough love, but his words often cut deeper than he intended. My mother, Linda, was a gentle soul who tried to keep the peace, but she often sacrificed her own feelings to do so. And my sister, Emily, was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in my father's eyes. I was the quiet one, the one who kept to myself and focused on my work. I had always been interested in design, and over the years, I had built a small business on the side called Luna Design Studio. It was a passion project, something I did in my free time to express my creativity and make a little extra money. But my family never seemed to take it seriously. They saw it as a hobby, something I did to pass the time. It all came to a head on my 28th birthday. We were sitting around the dining table, enjoying a simple dinner of takeout and a store-bought cake. I was looking forward to blowing out the candles and making a wish, but my father had other plans. He took a sip of his drink, looked me straight in the eye, and said, I should have stopped at one child. I felt like the air had been knocked out of me. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Emily let out a nervous laugh, and my mother looked down at her plate, avoiding my gaze. I forced a smile and blew out the candles, but inside, I was breaking. That night, I lay awake in bed, thinking about my father's words. I realized that I had been living my life for other people, trying to please them and fit in. But I had never truly been happy. I decided that it was time to make a change. The next morning, I opened a new bank account and transferred all my savings. I found an apartment in a different part of the city and signed a lease. I got a new phone number and made a plan to move out. Over the next few days, I packed up my things and moved them to my new place, all while my family went about their lives as if nothing was wrong. It wasn't until a few days later that they noticed I was gone. My mother called my old phone, but I had already switched numbers. She left a voicemail asking where I was, but I didn't answer. I knew that if I did, I would be tempted to go back, and I couldn't do that. A week after I left, I got an email from a major design agency in the city. They were looking for a consultant to help them with a project, and my name had come up. I was shocked and excited. I had never worked with a big agency before, and this was a huge opportunity. When I arrived at the agency, I was nervous but determined. I walked into the conference room and saw Emily sitting at the table. She looked up when I entered, and her eyes widened in surprise. She couldn't believe that I was the one they had hired. Over the next hour, I presented my findings and recommendations. I showed them where the project was failing and how they could fix it. The team was impressed, and they decided to move forward with my plan. Emily barely said a word during the meeting. She just sat there, looking at me with a mixture of shock and admiration. After the meeting, Emily approached me. She looked like she wanted to say something, but she couldn't find the words. Finally, she said, I had no idea you were so talented. I looked at her and said, you never asked. She nodded and said, I know. I'm sorry. I could see that she meant it, but it was too little, too late. I told her that I appreciated her apology, but I needed some time to myself. Over the next few weeks, my family started to realize the impact of my absence. My mother was struggling to keep up with the household chores, and my father was having trouble managing his finances. Emily was also having problems at work. She had lost a major client, and her boss was not happy. One day, my mother showed up at my apartment with a casserole. She looked tired and defeated. She told me that she had been looking for me, and she finally found me through Emily. She said that she was sorry for not being there for me, and she wanted to make things right. I listened to her, but I didn't say much. I knew that she was sincere, but but I wasn't ready to forgive her yet. I told her that I needed some time to think. A few days later, my father came to my apartment. He looked different. He was wearing a suit, but he looked tired and haggard. He told me that he had been seeing a therapist, and he was trying to change. He said that he was sorry for the way he had treated me, and he wanted to make amends. I was skeptical, but I decided to give him a chance. I told him that I needed to see some real change before I could forgive him. He nodded and said that he understood. Over the next few months, my family and I started to rebuild our relationship. We had slow Sunday dinners at my apartment, and we talked about our feelings. My mother started therapy, and she was learning to stand up for herself. My father was sober, and he was trying to be a better father. Emily was also making an effort to be a better sister. Around the same time, I got an offer from a major company in Seattle. They were looking for a senior product design lead, and they were offering me a great salary and equity. It was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but I was hesitant. I didn't want to leave my family behind. I talked to my parents and Emily about the offer, and they were all supportive. They told me that they wanted me to follow my dreams, and they would be there for me no matter what. I decided to take the offer. It was a difficult decision, but I knew that it was the right one. I packed up my things and moved to Seattle, ready to start a new chapter in my life. Looking back, I realized that leaving my family was the best thing I could have done. It gave me the space and time I needed to grow and become the person I was meant to be. It also forced my family to face their own issues and make some changes. I know that our relationship is still a work in progress, but I'm hopeful that we can continue to heal and grow together. I've learned that sometimes, leaving is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. It's a way of taking control of your life and choosing what's best for you. So, if you're in a situation where you're not being valued or respected, don't be afraid to leave. It might be hard, but it could be the best decision you ever make. Remember, you deserve to be happy, and you have the power to create the life you want.